and they can do their own thing. They can make their own decisions. But whenever you brick it into them really young, then how do you know if that's what they actually want? You don't know what they want because they're not old enough, they're not all the components to make these decisions. So why do you take it for them? And why do you make it spread that and be an advocate for things they don't even understand? It's like if you make your kid wait.
Yeah, this is I don't know what he's saying because like this concept that he's like arguing against supposedly is quite literally the reason why it should exist. Like, how can someone know what they want without ever learning about it? Like, this is precisely the reason why. This is ironically an argument for LGBT education, for the record.
Vote for this guy.
Also, Felix is, regardless of his Pepega ass takes, especially as it pertains to me from time to time, he's usually pretty open minded about stuff like this. So, I would absolutely chalk this up to like a misunderstanding rather than him like taking a hardline stance. He's usually very open minded about things of this nature as well.
I'm fucking stupid. Yo, what up, man?
What's happening? How's Texas?
Pretty bad. I mean, it was fantastic. Now it's pretty bad, but I'm not gonna talk about that. No, I'm not gonna be able to do some drama bait. I'm not doing that.
I wasn't trying to bait you into drama at all. I was just like asking a normal question. Like it wasn't like that.
Oh, okay,
it's like how's the weather? You know, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, you right. Okay, so basically, okay.
So what's up? What are you confused about?
All right, listen. Basically, there was like the Nick Merckx clip, right?
Yeah.
Some people said good things, some people said bad take. It wasn't even a take, to be honest. It actually wasn't. I was just more trying to inquire, right, about how that works. Like, why is it bad or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think people. This is a very polarizing subject, especially at a time when like there's fucking insane legislation being written at like every fucking state legislature in the country. So people get very heated about it when something even signals like right wing messaging. You know what I mean? When someone thinks like, oh, this person is even saying like, I want to be the one who's educating my children. That can mean anything from like, oh, I don't have an issue with like LGBT, concepts being taught to children at an early age or whatever. But I also want to be the one that like explains it to them, all the way to like, my child saw a fucking binky with a rainbow at Target and now he's going to be gay. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? So because of that broad range.
What's a binky?
Like a, I don't actually, it's like a pacifier, right? Isn't it?
Okay, yeah, then.
This is a funny way to say pacifier. The binky. Anyway, so that's the reason why people immediately and understandably get very passionate about it, because the thing that Nick Merckx was responding to was like these group of like right-wing weirdos that went to Glendale to protest the school, saying like that they were going to do Pride Month at school. And then fights broke out. And a lot of the dudes that like actually attended this fucking counter protest, like the anti-LGBT side, weren't even from the school district. Most of them didn't even have fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like they're like known people in Los Angeles, in the greater like Southern California area, that go to schools and do this almost for a living. Some of them are literal Nazis. Some of them are like fucking Proud Boys and shit. Right. And they're there to like fuck shit up. They're right wingers. And they're like, yeah, like, we think that a school should not actually even acknowledge that like children can be gay. You know what I mean? Or any acknowledgement of kids being gay or queer is like immediately gross and morally degenerate, because like they often will just say that immediately signals gay sex. You know what I mean? They like sexualize a mode of existence when it's not.
Okay. So my understanding was that basically, I just think sometimes like generally, okay. I just thought overall sexuality is taught really like sometimes too young. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the like, because there's people that are much more knowledgeable than me on this as far as like children's education, but I don't know what age like you start teaching kids sex ed. I was just talking about this, but as far as like gay people existing, you know, it's the moment that you tell your child that, you know, there's a mom and a dad, is it perfectly valid to also teach them that there are dads and moms, you know what I mean?
Yeah. See,
What?
yeah. I think if it's like all about that, sure, right? Like, bro, I have no dog in this fight. Like, people will say, "Oh, dude, what is this guy? He doesn't have children." Like, what? Like, I'm just inquiring about the actual take that he had. I thought he said it was mostly about like what they were teaching the kids, or he wants to do it himself or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think
That's mostly about sexuality itself, though. No, not about like sexual preference or like just the topic of sexuality itself.
so, because like that's why we go back to what I said. Because it's so broad, people basically in their minds, depending on like what kind of content that they're consuming, make up the worst assumptions. And the right does this all the fucking time. Like right-wing podcasters and like commentators will regularly talk about it like, oh, they're teaching your 4-year-old butt sex at school. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're really gross about it, basically. So for that reason, like a lot of people get lost in the sauce when they see that misinformation and everyone wants to protect their kids. They're like, oh, fuck. Like, they're teaching them that? Like, that's fucked up. That's insane. Like, we need to stop this immediately. And then they have...
Okay.
Then they move along with that irrational thought when that's not the case.
Okay. Do you think that the things being thought are like refined enough where it touches the right subjects and not the wrong one? And it's like... It's because I feel like if something bad, one small bad thing is packaged, all the other good things, I still think probably needs to... It's probably justifiable to want to do it better.
No,
like,
I think it's refined because this is like an age appropriate, because, and not age appropriate in the sense that like some parents might disagree with it, but even then, because of that reason, they have like sheets that they have like approval slips that parents sign regardless. Okay, but it's usually appropriate by people that, you know, develop these packages that know a lot better about like what to teach children at what age. You know what I mean? Like they know what the best way and the best things to communicate to children is.
Yeah, I don't know about education and these things, so it's kind of hard to have like to find an equivalent example of that and how it's been done. I know some people were like equating it to like, oh, what about then if we did this about religion, or what did it about politics, and then things get kind of blurry. So I don't think these are like one-to-one good examples, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like religion or politics. Well, the kids get taught about religion at an early age, then super early age anyway. But as far as like politics goes, it's not the same because like, even though that can also be taught in schools in some ways, oftentimes is, but it's just like. Usually it's basically gay people exist, like the way I just described it to you. And
oh yeah, that's fine. If it's all about 100%, fuck all that. Yeah, that's
like
fine.
It's more so like gay people exist and there should be acceptance towards gay people. Like you shouldn't fucking like gay people, trans people exist in society and you should not bully them, and it's perfectly normal and valid to feel the way that you do. A lot of people will turn around and like take this away, even though it's like basic biology. And they'll make it political. They want to make it political. They'll say like, no, your existence is political. And it's not. It's just how it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. So that part's often lost in the sauce, and like conservatives just like lie straight up regularly about like what children are being taught at schools. And it's it has created the space where like someone like Nick Merckx, who gets to see that kind of commentary regularly, will start developing ideas and start believing in it, because why the fuck wouldn't you? You look at something you see online, you don't expect that person, especially if they seemingly come across as like apolitical, or if they come across as like agreeable, you're not expecting them to lie to you. You know what I mean? Like you're not
No,
expecting
no,
them to
no.
deliberately lie to you.
Yeah, actually that makes sense. Yeah.
So you see that and you start developing these opinions and you start thinking that like maybe they're teaching your children, you know, weird ass shit when they're in school, when they're young. And that's not the case. They're just teaching them, you know, age appropriate things. You might consider that to be inappropriate, but at least like, you know, people who have studied this and people who understand childhood development and what to teach children have figured out that this is the best age to teach them certain concepts.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I think that makes more sense overall. Well, Um, I've always had the problem, like in my thoughts as a general concept of like, um, the teaching of like the actual sexuality part of it, too early. Even before like LGBTQ stuff was less like, you know, um,
Was less what, like
less like
accepted?
out there. Yeah, yeah, exactly, and less out there because what I mean, bro, I'm 27. Like back at my age, I mean, bro, we didn't talk about this shit like ever at all. You know,
Yeah. Well,
in the schools
it's
anyway.
it's definitely a good thing. The real reason why people want to teach this is because, like, as you and I agree, you know, gay people exist, trans people exist, right? So when you learn about them existing at an early age, you don't develop false notions about their existence. And a lot of parents that are right wing want to shelter their children from the existence of such things because
Oh,
they want them to think like, oh, this is not normal, or they don't want your teacher to say it's perfectly normal to have two dads because they, as parents, don't think that it's normal. I don't even think Nick Merckx is like that. I don't even think that Nick Merckx is like, oh, yeah, it's fucked up to be gay. I want my children to know that it's like fucked up to be. I don't even think he believes in that. I think he probably is lost in the sauce from what he has seen from right wing content creators and shit that pop off on TikTok, just like every other fucking boomer out there.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Sometimes like that angle does make sense though. Now that makes more sense. If you teach somebody the existence of something, then they'll be like less like, I guess, like afraid of it or
Yeah.
untrusting of it and less judgmental of it. I think that definitely makes more sense as a
And for
broad.
kids also who are gay or kids who are trans, for example, like kids who are queer, right, that aren't like heterosexual, um, when they see that, they're like, oh, it's not weird that I feel the way that I do. Does that make sense? And that is
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely what they want to stop. Where
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense actually. Yeah, you don't feel like you're odd. So like, let's say things are standardized in a way, and they look like at a Sears catalog, and they see like a bulge. They're not like, wait, I'm fucking weird for like thinking this is good or something like that. You know?
yeah,
Right?
and like the example I always use is this one, right? Like in Florida, they have like a "Don't Say Gay" bill that usually
What is
that
that?
was
What is that?
so originally it was like no mentions of like sexuality at all from K through 12, and then now it's like all the way up to the K through 12, no mention of sexuality, or it was originally supposed to be no mentions of sexuality, sex ed, anything like that from K through 3, and now it's like K through 12, kindergarten through 12th
What's
grade,
K2 what? I don't know what it means.
kindergarten to 3rd grade.
Okay.
So it was supposed to like stop teachers, and it has actually stopped teachers from even showcasing that they might be gay. You know what I mean? It's like very vague and generalized. And basically, no one is going to have an issue with like a pregnant kindergarten teacher, right? Like when you have a kindergarten teacher that's pregnant, you're not going to go, oh, that means like someone came inside of her. That's gross. What the fuck? That person should not be teaching children. But when you have a gay teacher, all of a sudden it's out of the norm because it's not heteronormative. So then all of a sudden that's an issue. So it's a sneaky way to basically say, oh, we're only going to stop, queer teachers and queer concepts from being discussed. and not
Okay,
necessarily
yeah,
and
yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand that.
because you never sexualize, like when you see like a mom and a dad walking down the street holding hands, you don't immediately think they're gonna fuck.
Yeah.
But when you see two gay guys, like a lot of right wingers or people who are like uninitiated, they'll look at that and go, "Oh, that's gay sex. That's gross. Like, why are you fucking doing that in public?"
Okay, yeah. I mean, as a child, you see like when you don't know about sexuality, you see two adults, whatever, and you're just thinking like, when you start developing, it's like, oh, this is like kissing or whatever. And I think that applies to anybody. Like, two guys can kiss, two girls can kiss, like, right? You don't think about like the actual sexual part of it until you've learned that.
Because like sexuality isn't just about like fucking, you know what I mean? Attraction is way more complicated than that. And it can be left at like just being attracted to a sex rather than immediately going to like or being affectionate towards a sex instead of literally making the assumption and adding the puzzle piece that like they're fucking. This is you're teaching children how to do gay sex.
So that's pretty much what like whenever that's what they're saying pretty much. So to scare people off, they're saying that's what that's what they're teaching and or whatever. They're teaching like the sex part of it.
Yeah.
To try to fit the narrative.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't even know since I don't know. Okay, listen. I've had a little bit of class of psychology, a little bit. Okay, I know a little bit about like child development or whatever. I don't know when is the acceptable time to teach or at least introduce some sort of sexuality in education or yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I would yeah. I don't know.
I think like we said, it's dependent on what we're talking about. If it's sex ed, then it's a little bit older. I think it's dependent on whatever the school system is. But if it's just like LGBT existence, if you're teaching children that have like two moms and two dads sometimes, then that can be taught as early as when children understand what a mom and a dad is. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. There's a book called The Great Big Book of Families with teacher Helena. And that apparently was like controversial to conservatives when kindergartners were learning about this stuff. And if you look at the book, it's like ridiculous. There's nothing sexual in it whatsoever. It's just like, it's exactly the concepts that I just mentioned. I linked it to you if you want to watch it on YouTube. It's like a very short book. It's like 5 minutes long. You can browse through it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, do the last sentence. I didn't hear it right. Literally the last sentence you just said it because
I said I linked you a book that right wingers thought was controversial. That is like taught to children in the I think the Los Angeles Unified School District.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they thought that was like too far or like crazy or something.
Yeah, it's shit like this. If you can find out on your own what kind of age appropriate sex ed exists for children, or even like what they mean by like LGBTQ books.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah, I have one more question then. This is a bit kind of the same topic, but not really.
What's up? Say that again.
I have another topic. Listen. This might sound degen. I am your classic like Twitter is my news type guy. Okay, I'll watch the news a little bit here and there. I try to get like informed about my world, but at the same time, like I will literally consume dog shit Twitter for you page. Okay, which is degen.
Yeah,
and that tends to be like sometimes like right wing ideologies. Quite literally, like I am fed right wing dog shit and it says the dumbest shit of all time.
No, I know. It's really fucked up. It's gotten way worse since the Elon takeover too. There's like every time I'm on my fucking For You page, it's like a woman fucking punches. It's like Fight Haven videos. Woman punches a guy and then fucking the guy claps back and then a litany of psychotic right wing shit.
But you know what? I don't mind it that much because at the time I think I get somewhat of a different viewpoint. And I can understand like both sides, you know. So at least I'm not fed one-sided dog shit. I kind of get both. So yeah, I get right-wing dog shit at the same time. For people that are right-wing, then they will probably assume that most things that people
No,
would be left wing dog
listen,
shit, right?
I consume more right wing content than I consume left wing content. Okay, like that's all I do. If you ever watch me, most people don't even realize this. They're like, oh, someone wants to have a fucking hug box or whatever, an echo chamber. But like, I literally spend most of my time watching and trying to understand what right wingers are saying. If you've ever fucking been in this broadcast for even a brief moment, you know that, because I need to know what they're thinking. I need to know how they're thinking. I need to know where this is coming from. But there's a difference between like looking at that, consuming it, and then also believing some of the more psychotic shit that they are saying. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's interesting to have different viewpoints. Like, I don't want to be a one-sided Andy who just gets fed dog and just says, "Oh yeah, that's all true." Like, I think both is fine, and it also widens your area of what people think overall. But so one topic that keeps popping up on my feed, even today or the day before that, is like gender affirming surgery type stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is like, so a lot of that stuff is just straight up insane. Conservatives have made it their main like their main talking point to like basically stop trans people any way, shape, or form they can. They will straight up lie and say like, oh, children are getting fucking mutilated. They'll straight up do this thing where they'll explain the gruesome process of a surgery to make it seem like it's like unique to like whatever kind of like top surgery or bottom surgery that like trans people get, trans adults get, by the way. No one under the age of 18 is getting any kind of like
You know what? If you didn't tell me that, I didn't know. Bro, I thought it was the opposite. I thought they were doing that because I'm fed so much dog shit on Twitter. I thought this was happening.
No, if a child is getting some kind of irreversible surgery, it's usually an extreme edge case, and it's not fucking real. It is not something that is like done all the fucking time. Children that get plastic surgeries with parental consent happens all the fucking time when it comes to like kids getting plastic surgery for their sweet 16s, kids getting fucking nose surgeries, kids getting literally fucking fake tits at the age of 16. That stuff is seen as like perfectly normal and gender affirming, but it's gender affirming in the right direction because most people think that that is like perfectly right. You and I might have a disagreement on that, by the way. I don't think it's a great thing that kids are getting surgery early on. I'm not like the biggest fan of.
I didn't say that either. The fuck?
No. I'm saying you and I might have a disagreement than like the broader public's opinion on that kind of thing.
Okay, well, what's your opinion then?
Well, clearly it's like super fucking normalized. Rhinoplasty and breast augmentation is like literally something that high schoolers get regularly.
Yeah, you shouldn't be getting anything permanent until you can make decisions for yourself. I think. Like
people throwing up question marks in your chat are completely oblivious to how commonplace rhinoplasties and breast augmentation is under the age of 18. Like plenty of kids get it at the age of 16, for the record.
Yeah. Then I'm against all that. I'm against the whole thing. I think that's I mean, bro, like I don't know, like
yeah. And by the way, I'm not across the board anti all of that either. Like there could be, health complications. There are plenty of health complications that require you to get surgeries like that. Anyway, my point is conservatives regularly look to numbers like that and make it seem as though it's only fucking kids under the age of 18 are getting top surgery and that's really fucked up. It's like irreversible. It's bullshit. Okay? That is a hyper specific scenario that rarely, like incredibly rarely ever happens. And when it does, it is often done with prior, like an insane amount of consultation.
Okay.
I love people being like, no one says that. And I love people in the chat being like, no, it happens all the time. No, you see one example of it and that is plastered and it's oftentimes like an 18-year-old or whatever, but conservatives just do not care and they lie all the fucking time.
Yeah, because see, I'm even against like getting tattoos when you're under 18 or whatever the fucking age of fucking well, also I truly believe that I think being an adult So I think some people are adults. Okay, whoa. I'm gonna slow down here because people are gonna take this the wrong way. Okay, when I took my driving test a long time ago, the teacher asked, "When are you an adult?" And people said 21, 20, 18. Most people said 18 because it's legal age. And the guy replied something that I think was pretty smart. He said, "You're an adult when you're an adult, right? Because some people learn about the real world and have a lot of responsibilities and do a lot of adult shit that some people will never do until they're like way older when they're really young, right? And then some people do none of the adult shit, even though they're like 30, like me."
Yeah, people have different levels of different stages of development. Is that what you're saying? Because that's true. Yes, they do.
So like,
yeah, laws are not going to. No law is ever going to be perfect. That's not how that works.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
not.
like you try to nail it. You try to min-max it and make sure that like you get the broadest group of people involved. That's like how you're supposed to write laws. You know.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be exceptions to
do
that.
it.
But yes, but conservatives will use like edge cases and even add like sprinkle in a lot of misinformation into the conversation, which is why a lot of people in your chat are currently like, "You're out of your fucking mind. You're lying about this. I've seen so many photos of like 15-year-olds getting like breast surgery, top surgery, whatever the fuck." Like it'll always be like one fucking person that was going to go and like that underwent like serious psych evaluations, and people who understand the situation a lot better than you and I do decided to make this private medical decision between two parties, oftentimes even three parties within the parental consent as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But again, I don't even talk about it that much because it's like it's irrelevant. It's so fucking
it's so little. It's
so little, and the broad majority is rhinoplasties and corrections of breast asymmetry, breast augmentation, breast reductions, acne and acne scar treatment, even male breast reduction for gynecomastia. These are the things that the overwhelming majority of people that get plastic surgery before the age of 18 are getting.
Yeah, it's just because let's say take one of the smaller ones or just even like tattoos. Like I'm dumb as fuck, and I don't trust myself to like make permanent decisions, even when I'm 37 now, right? So when I think about like people that got tattoos at like 16, I was even more of a fucking bum at 16. I would be mad at my parents and at the world if I at 20 was like, "Yo, dude, why do I have this shit?" Oh, because my 16-year-old or my 15-year-old dumb self decided to do that. I'd be mad at myself, and I would be very upset, and that would annoy me a lot, you know. And I think there should be like safeguards for people not, you know, to.
I agree, which is why there's like a tremendous amount of consultation. And like I said, the stuff that I just brought up right here, which make up the overwhelming majority of like plastic surgery that teenagers get before the age of 18, is done on, you know, cisgender heterosexual teenagers. And it's still done with like a tremendous amount of medical consultation. I am a firm believer in leaving it up to doctors instead of some fucking dumbass right-wing Christian zealot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like the lead doctor, people who like decide to or whatever. Because I feel like overall, sometimes doctors are fucking smoking crack. I know my doctor back in Canada, she was smoking actual fucking drugs or something. She was crazy. Anyway. But I get what you mean though. Like overall trusting the science and like professionals that make it their jobs to fucking know that shit, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, who do you trust then? Like you go with the best you have, right?
You trust God, and you trust the random guy on Twitter that keeps saying like they're cutting fucking children's genitals off or whatever the fuck, which is not happening. That's insane. The genital mutilation that happens in America is systemic, in the Western world especially. It's called circumcision, okay? And that is done without the consent of the parents in some cases even, and they still do it regardless, okay?
I thought that was like religious or something like that.
I think it has its roots in religion, yes.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Do you have any questions?
Not really. I mean, I'm good.
That was good though. That was good. I appreciate that you taught me about some stuff. Some stuff I didn't know about that.
Yeah. No problem, man. This was great.
And also, always good.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace, man. Maybe I'll be back in California soon or one day.
All right. When you come back to LA.
Perhaps. Yep.
All right.
Bye, man. Take care, brother.
All right. You too, brother. Have fun.
Oh my God, it